I want to say thanks to Sir Terry Waite, and I'm looking at this. It's in People magazine, December the 2nd, 91. At long last, freedom. They put a chip in his arm where I don't know that they programmed him, but they could follow him with a chip. And it's my understanding, I'm sure somebody will correct me if I'm wrong, Oliver North. Remember the Oliver North hearings? Had something to do with putting the chip in him. Anyway, if that's an error, then it's one of the very, very few I've made about any of this. It's been the total truth, nothing but the truth, so help me God. This is Larry Flynn. I wrote about mind control murders and doctors using, it was a medical malpractice book, using mind control. And then so much was happening to me and my children, Mark and Scott, and Larry Flint was shot during that time. I was living in Moonraker Apartments in Marietta, and they were owned by Penthouse Magazine, had been. They were owned when I lived there by the Mormon Church. But anyway, this came out April of '84, Mr. Flint. He was shot in Lawrenceville March the 6th of 78 while I was doing the book there in Marietta. And this is later, I wrote about Larry McDonald, congressman, doctor, and here he says, I knew who was responsible for his shooting. Well, mind control was used in it, and I had a letter, had gone to the FBI. Little did I know that I'd always been there. I found out later. But anyway, I went to the FBI, and I was down there quite a few times, and I had moved from Moonraker to Laurelwood, just up the street on Bentley Road. And got a phone call from, I can't remember if I called him or he called me. But anyway, he said, this is Michael Ken. Well, I found out later Michael Ken's was the, well, anyway, he was head of the, I'm going blank here, not funny, head of the FBI there during that time that I was down there. And then suddenly they close up shop, and a whole new team comes in there during the Wayne Williams, the murders down there, and the profilers came in and all that. And the book, The List, was written by Chet Betlinger. He was a former FBI and even charged or accused at one time of the murders, which was, anyway. Anyway, back to the phone call. This was done, I believe, May or June. I got the letter in June the 23rd, 79, from the FBI. U.S. Attorney William Harper issued it from the FBI. They have to direct it, like the police turn something over to the district attorney. Well, the FBI turned it over to, I guess, the Justice Department or to the U.S. Attorney's Office, really, to be prosecuted or not. And the letter from the FBI director said ongoing investigation, national security involved. So I'm going to skip what happened then to me. All I'm going to say here is that in one of the phone calls, he said he was Michael Ken, special agent is who Michael Ken was. But anyway, this was one of the agents there. I'm not sure which one. But he said, I'm going to have to put you on hold for a while, but I'll be back. He said, I'm also Helms, and he spelled it Helms, and I thought, well, I know how to spell Helms, I thought. Anyway, I'm going to read you because they were being cryptic, and I showed you the Larry Flint. That was mind control. The person was programmed to shoot him and kill his attorney there. There's a long list of them, and I'll say them real quick, just a couple of them. Fort Hood shooter, he was a psychiatrist. He was born here in Vinton, Roanoke, and finished college at Virginia Tech where the mass shootings had happened, the 33, August of '07. This is Timothy McVeigh, who said that the U.S. Army implanted him with a chip. And that's the Oklahoma City bombing. That was the Tex Mars. But I was writing, this happened later, but that was done in patterns. And that's the reason some of these were deliberately done in patterns, because mind control is invisible, so it's hard to prove. And nobody wants to touch it, believe me. They'd rather you die and they put the wrong person in prison or on death row. And I have to quote one of the FBI agents down there, and I hope I don't get them in trouble because they told the truth. He told me he pretended that he was yawning, bored. He said, you know what people do? This is in '82, I believe. He said, you know what people do with what you're telling them? You boil them. And he pretended to yawn. He said it's only when they learn how it affects them that they care. Well, he meant care about themselves. So this is through this long list of murders that's happened. The campus murders, shootings like Sandy Hook, Columbine, all those are done, or most of them were that I know of. There may have been some that the media didn't make an issue out of, and that's the odd part of this. Let me insert this real quick. In Bedford, next door here, I was in the police department there, and they deliberately put me on a kind of a shared van, and there was nothing else except behind me was this great big huge picture. And it had all of these murders that had happened. They were smaller, but I didn't know anything about it. I just looked up there. It didn't mean anything to me other than it was an FBI, I believe, or they were wanted, these people were. So I made nothing of it because I had nothing to make of it. In other words, when I have stated the murders were mind-controlled, done in patterns, that's exactly what I meant. There's a long list of them. The Nichols, not Nichols, Matthews, Jesse Matthews. They can mass an army and program them now, and for a long time they've been able to, without their knowledge or anything. But they can do a one-on-one, which messes. Everybody's got something to hide. They can get people to do things like has been done to me, and I can't get an attorney, so I'm left running around like a chicken. Well, I don't even want to say that. Okay, let me get back to this. The Helms, I want to get back to that, and then I'm going to stop because I'm tired and my health is so bad it's horrible. I wanted to read this, though. Helms was the CIA director. When he was making that comment, the FBI agent on the phone back then in '79, it was '79, he said he was Helms, he was also Helms, and he spelled it, and said they'd have to leave me for a while, put me on hold for a while. Well, they did that in January, and I was trying to get Agent, can't think of his, Sajak, and had to, because, I mean, man, what was happening to me was, and my children was unbelievable. And here I had a letter from the FBI. I'd done a book trying to get it published. And they said they'd have to patch me through. He was out in the forest camping. Well, I ended up on the Appalachian. It's almost like telling me where I'm going to be. Living on the Appalachian Trail, starving, freezing, camping. Most people would have died, and I almost did. So without getting into all that, because I've put it on videos, Facebook, and everything, I really wanted to go back to this, to the agent that was on the phone with me then and used the word Helms, as in Richard Helms, who was the CIA director. And here's what... you go back and you can Google this. I put it down so I could read it, and I'm still sounding a bit garbled, and it's going to go out. Project Artichoke, also referred to as project that researched interrogation methods and arose from Project Blue Book on August the 20th of 51, run by CIA's Office of Scientific Intelligence. Ex-CIA